Hey guys, how are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. I wanted to share with you today some of the stuff that I've been going through in my own personal Devos that I've been really encouraged by, and I hope will encourage you. I have a Bible study book that I'm going through that's all on Psalm 23, and so it's just been taking me like very little bit by bit, verse by verse, and just diving deep into what this psalm is saying. So I'm going to read it. It's only 6 verses. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and your love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." So this has just brought me a lot of comfort during this time. I'm mainly going to focus on the first 4 verses, but just this idea of the Lord being our shepherd. Number one, when I think of a shepherd, I think of a leader and someone who's a protector, and so that brings me comfort. Right now, it just feels like the first part where it says he makes me lie down in green pastures. It just feels like that's where we're at right now. Like God is making us lie down. We're not able to go anywhere. We have to be home. And so it feels like this is a perfect time for us to be resting and spending time with the Lord. And because we're less distracted, we don't have school, we don't have going out, we're not able to hang out with friends. This is the perfect time for us to spend quality time with the Lord. And so what I feel like he's doing with us right now is just wanting to pour into us so that we are refreshed and renewed and able to have that peace that he brings. One of the quotes that's in the Bible study that I've been doing that I just loved says, it's from David Guzik. It said, "The sheep didn't need to know where the green pastures or still waters were. All he needed to know was where the shepherd was." And so this is just so clear that our eyes should always be fixed on Jesus. He's the only way for us to get to that place of peace and rest and being refreshed in him. He is that life-giving water. I just imagine green pastures and quiet waters. I mean, that is just the perfect picture of peace and rest. And that's what the Lord wants to lead us to. And we don't have to know where they are, because all we have to know is where Jesus is, and that's where we're going to find that rest. I love that, during this time, I feel like there's so much fear, there's so much stress and anxiety, not really knowing when this is going to end and what's going to happen. And I've definitely experienced that. I've struggled with having anxiety through this and just feeling worried about the world. And this is just so encouraging that the Lord wants to lead us to that rest. We just have to follow him there. And, maybe you have people around you who are struggling because they don't know the Lord, and so they don't know where to find that rest. And I think as believers, when the Lord is leading us to rest and he's leading us to those waters that are going to fill us with his Spirit, then we're able to pour that out onto others, and we're able to share that with others. And I think that this is such an awesome time that we get so much time to do that. We have so much time on our hands. We have no excuse for not spending time with the Lord and not spending time in the Word. So I think it's really important, and it's what the Lord is calling us to do right now in this season of being at home, is to spend time with Him and rest. So then it goes on to talk about the dark valleys, and we definitely go through dark valleys, every one of us, and it can be scary and it can be hard, but what this is saying is, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And in other versions, I have the NIV, but there's other versions that talk about this being the valley of the shadow of death. And I thought it was really interesting in the Bible study that I'm going through. This is what it says about that, and I feel like it's super comforting. It says, "We do not walk through the valley of death, but only the valley of the shadow of death. Our Jesus has conquered death," and Charles Spurgeon says that only the shadow of it remains. Spurgeon points out that nobody is afraid of a shadow, for a shadow cannot stop a man's pathway, even for a moment. The shadow of a dog cannot bite. The shadow of a sword cannot steal or kill. The shadow of death cannot destroy us. We do not need to fear the valley of the shadow of death or any other valley this life may bring, because our shepherd is with us and leading us right to where we need to be. And like, looking at it that way, as it just being a shadow, is just so comforting, because what it says is true. A shadow cannot hurt us. And maybe right now you're feeling like you're in one of those dark valleys. Maybe you're at home and just struggling with being alone, struggling with not being able to see friends, or maybe there's temptations that you're struggling with, or just feeling depressed and lonely, and it's a hard place to be. But my encouragement to you is just to remember that God is with you every step of the way, even if you're feeling alone, even if, you are alone for the most part, if you're just, kind of secluding yourself into your room, God's with you, and He wants to take you through that. He wants to go through that with you and bring you out on the other side. I just really want to encourage you guys to spend time with the Lord right now and to really meditate on what the Word says. At the beginning of this Bible study, after I read through the chapter a few times, it prompted me to write my own version, to paraphrase what this passage was saying. And I want to encourage you guys to do that. I think this is a great passage. It's only 6 verses, so you can do it pretty quickly. And if you just spend some time reading it and then putting it in your own words so that it has more of a personal meaning to you, I think that this is a great time to do that. And I hope that if you are struggling, if you are having a hard time, I really, really hope that you guys will reach out to us. We would love to be there for you. And I would love if you do take on the challenge that I've given you to rewrite this passage. I would love to see it. So if you want to post it on Instagram or just send us a DM, I would really love to see it. I'll share what I wrote. And I just want you guys to know we love you so much. We really miss you. And I just really hope that you spend time with the Lord in this season, because we really have no excuse not to. Love you guys.